Hey guys, happy Tuesday. This is our second leadership call for 2023. And I'm super excited because today I have Katie Sue on, and I have watched this girl's journey from the very beginning of time since she got started here, and it has been one heck of a journey at that. But I think today, one of the biggest things that I want to share, and I know she's going to get a little bit deeper into it just because we already discussed it a little bit, is, when you have that spouse that may not be supportive in the beginning, or, you really don't have that belief in yourself, but you have a really big why when you get started, and it kind of is your whole purpose, but then it kind of shifts because you fall in love with the product and the process, and then you start to believe in yourself. And I think having setbacks and struggles and watching her go through those have been such an encouraging and inspiring. It's been amazing. I've watched the whole thing unfold to where she is today. And I'll tell you guys, I might be a little biased because I gave her my 200K sign last year at conference, because I truly believe that you guys are going to see her as one of the 200Ks walking across that stage at some point teaching, because she is incredible. And I can't wait to get her started today and sharing with you guys. So with that said, Katie Sue, do you want to start off with telling people maybe a little bit about how you were introduced to Theyve, and just kind of go from there?
Sure. So, hey guys, I am Katie Sue Castillo. I am 29. I'm going to be 30 this year. Oh my gosh. But we live in the middle of nowhere in Kansas on a farm. My husband's a farmer. We have 3 kiddos. And so when Theyve kind of found me, I had spent about 2 years in a different network marketing company. I was working full-time at a daycare just because in the past I worked over full-time with both of my pregnancies, and then I went right back to work with after my babies. So I missed so much of their baby stages, just because I had to work a lot. So at that time I had taken a job at a daycare because I was sick and tired of missing my babies. At least that way I could keep them with me all day. And yeah, so I had that a little bit of experience from another network marketing company. But at that point, I was literally done. I was like, nope, this network marketing thing's not working for me. I had a sketchy upline. I was just done. And then on the daycare side of things too, I was overwhelmed. I was stressed. I literally felt like I was at a breaking point. So I decided to quit the daycare altogether too. Me and my husband talked about it. He was like, maybe if you're at home with the kids, you'll have more time to just wind down and not be so stressed all the time. But the reality of the situation, when you have 3 little babies and only 1 income, shit just gets a little bit more stressful. Even if you're sitting on the couch, things are still pretty stressful. So that's when Theyve found me. I had been watching these 2 girls that I knew from the previous company. They had gone and left and started something else. They were posting about how good they felt. They were running around with their boys. They were boy moms, and I could just tell a difference. I didn't know them very, very well, but I had known them as leaders from this other company, and now, they were on Facebook posting all happy, and I literally could see a different glow in them, in their pictures, just everything. So I was like, you know what? I need that. Whatever it is, I need that. But in the previous company that I did work with, they had talked a lot of shit on this crazy little patch thing that I saw these girls wearing. So of course I was skeptical, and I had already written off network marketing. And so all those factors kind of kept me just watching for a while. And then finally, one of them reached out to me because I had liked a post or whatever on Facebook, and they kind of just explained it to me. And I told them, you know what, we're broke. I just quit my job. We're trying to pay off these lawyers because just before that, we had a long drawn out custody battle for my oldest daughter. She was taken away from her bio mom and put into foster care. So we had to get a lawyer in Nebraska, the state which she was taken to, and then a lawyer in Kansas where we lived. So we were paying off that, dealing with all that stress. I was just depleted. And one random day, a 3-day sample showed up in my freaking mailbox. So like it or not, I was going to try these stinking 3 steps. And you know what? Thank God I did, because it literally has changed everything. So after my 3-day sample, you know, of course, I had amazing energy. I felt the mental clarity. The mood support was like nothing I had ever felt before. And coming from a really dark place in my life, like I knew Thrive was what I needed. But there again, I went back to the girls who sent me the sample, and I was like, I know I need this, but I'm broke. I literally am like, we're stretching Iram's paycheck to put groceries in the fridge at this point. And that's when they told me I could Thrive for free. When I heard that, I was like, bet I'll do whatever it takes. Like, I'm going to get this stuff for free, and I'm going to just, you know, focus on me. This is what I needed. So September 15th, 2017, I became a brand promoter. They didn't really, the ladies I got started with, they really didn't tell me the difference between customer or promoter. They were just like, this is what you got to do. You're going to Thrive for free. You're going to post on Facebook. We're going to send out samples, make your account. Like, I literally was just like, okay, I'm going to do what you say because I want these products. So I became a brand promoter. Within my first 2 weeks, I hit my VIP 800. I missed my VIP 1600 by just one promoter pack. But at that point, I was already thriving for free. I had already gotten my first paycheck, you guys, and I hadn't even expected that. Like, literally just wanted my products for free. So that extra little paycheck I got, and then the extra $100 in credit that I got for hitting my VIP, literally blew my damn mind. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the grocery store today and buy my own groceries and not even have to tell my husband about it. And like, you know, just surprise him with a fridge stocked full. I was so excited.
I think that is such, I think that's such a powerful thing right there, because there are a lot of stay-at-home moms and a lot of individuals out there, especially right now with how things are, that, you know, I know for me, it's like, I want to always like help where I can. Right. And I know that had to feel good. And I know there's so many other women that would like to have that, and guys too, because, you know, it was a reverse situation at my household. My husband stayed home and I was working. So there was a little bit of a twist on that. But I know that it gives a sense of pride that you can also help contribute and to provide. And then I know that, you know, your journey, just being able to bring that extra, it did leave some weight off of his shoulders. You know, it did give some weight off his shoulders, but he was skeptical. He was skeptical of it.
Heck yeah, he was super skeptical.
Tell
yes,
a little bit about that,
I think a lot of it stems from me doing network marketing previously. And like, when I tell you guys I was bullied, I was freaking bullied over there. And so I know it was just his way of, you know, kind of protecting me, because we had talked like, I'm done with network marketing. I don't want to deal with these people anymore, like that type of thing. So I know that's kind of where it started. But also, he's just a very traditional Mexican man. So it's also like the whole social media thing. It was all brand new to all of us. Me especially, because I was so like in a dark mental space. I didn't really talk to people. I didn't post much. I didn't have very many people on my Facebook. So when I started network marketing, I really started like trying to push that part of me, like be more sociable, meet new people. And I think that kind of threatened him. He didn't like me posting my results. He didn't like me talking to strangers. And even when it came to the point, yes, and especially when it came to the point of my first leadership retreat about a year into my journey, he was like, so you're gonna go fly to Tennessee and meet a bunch of strangers and stay with them for a week. He was like, that's just not realistic. And at that time, this was 4 years ago, we had, you know, a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So I was about to leave him, a farmer with these children, and he was not happy about that at all. So that's something we literally fought over for, I don't know how long, the first year or two of my journey. And that was freaking hard, you guys. It was super hard. I think that was like my first kind of like block that I had to fight through. I knew what these products were doing for me. I knew I was able.
Oh, I hope we didn't lose you. You were cutting out real good.
Am I breaking out, or are you?
Yeah, no.
I think my service may suck a little bit, you guys.
Yeah, it was cutting.
Am I slow?
Second. Yeah, you're frozen on the screen. I don't know if it is there any. I don't know if there's a way to kind of maybe go out and.
Am I back?
No, a little bit.
Okay, sorry, you guys.
Frozen.
I live in the boonies, so this may happen.
But you guys, I want to say this, okay? I want to say something because I know her husband, and I think this is something that people need to keep in mind. When you grow up a certain way, okay, when you grow up a certain way and you're used to certain traditions, it can be very, very intimidating, okay, to have your wife all of a sudden be posting all over social media, and she's learning and so forth. And some people, you know, this world is all like, I don't know, it's like, oh, do what they want and da 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 da. Okay, but here's the thing. Traditional is traditional, and it is how it is, okay? And it was a matter of sometimes that can be very intimidating to somebody that's never been introduced to that, okay? That's never been introduced to that. And I know as Iram continued to see, you know, Katie work and what she was doing and how it was helping their family and how she started to incorporate him into the process, it really changed things for their family. It changed a lot of things. I'm trying to watch. Oh, there she is. Let me hit your button. There you go. She's back. Yay. Yep.
Guys. Hopefully you can hear me better on my phone.
Yes.
Okay, good. I don't know where I left off, but basically
we were talking about the skepticism, you know, that Iram had and very traditional background. So it's like, here you are posting all over social media, his wife's body, right? And you know, trying to make friends and now traveling places and leaving him, who's never probably ever been home by himself with all the kids. So it's like, it's easy to look at, oh yeah, he's very unsupportive, but really, you guys, it's kind of like a very scary thing for a man if he's never been in that situation, to all of a sudden his wife taking off on an airplane. See you later, babe. I'm going to go enjoy a vacation away from you, take the kids and have fun. See ya. Like like literally, like when I put it that way, it sounds a little different than, oh yeah, like, you know what I mean? And so I was just kind of filling them in on that and a different perspective of like, when somebody's never been around any of this and never had their wife just take off on an airplane. I can remember the first time I got on one. If you don't think my husband at the time was skeptical, he most certainly was. He most certainly was. And it's scary. It can be very intimidating. It can almost make a man, especially with the background that he comes from, very traditional, almost feel like they're losing their wife. Okay. In some ways. And that's scary. That's a scary thing. And I just, I know that they had gone through a lot. You guys, she told you about the custody battle and all of that. But also, I'm not going to say too much, but they had endured loss.
You can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. They had endured loss, you guys. So not only had there was a history there of a little girl, okay, and Iram had already suffered one loss that due to his ex in the hands of her, okay, and when you have that kind of trauma, it is going to paralyze you. All right. And I think that's really had a lot to do with it. And as I learned more of their story, both of their stories, I get emotional talking about it because I know what one of Katie's whys was. But I think that, it's easy to say when you see somebody like pull back or whatever, try to see what's going on. Maybe it's because they're dealing with something at home, and see how you can incorporate family into the process, right? And I think when you went back home after our retreat, and it was my leadership retreat in Pigeon Forge. I was like, oh gosh, where were we? Pigeon Forge that year. And when she went back, it was like a totally different journey, and I think it's because her belief grew. So then when she went back and her husband said, oh, she returned, she's here. I think you probably kind of approach things a little differently,
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to shut up now and continue on your story.
It definitely opened our eyes, and it was literally a growing moment for us both. We've been together since 14, 15. So literally 2 traumatized teens, codependent relationship, very trauma bonded, separating for the first time in ever. You know what I mean? So it was, if I can put myself in his shoes back then, I totally can understand. And it's something we definitely fought tooth and nail about, but it was something that made us grow together. Also, I came back and basically proved myself. I was going to do what I needed to do for myself. He knew how bad of a spot I was in before, even though he was skeptical and doubted everything about it. He knew how much it was helping me. So when I came back, I had that sense of belief in me. I knew what these freaking products were doing. I knew I was about to build a giant team because of just everybody who I had been able to help. And their Theyve transformations were huge. And the first 2 years of my business, I really feel like that's what I had to focus on. I was so rock bottom that now you got me all emotional, Amanda. I was so rock bottom I literally had to start laying the foundation to build myself up again. Is it me? Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you. I can hear you clearer than ever.
Okay,
I think sometimes people will accidentally mute themselves, or their phone will switch over to a Bluetooth somewhere. So that's where, but no, I can hear you, and I think everybody else can as well. But I'll tell you, Katie, and that's the thing, you guys, is that she built that belief, right? And I'm going to tell you, I know that following year, a year later, where were we? In Jamaica.
And I can still see him with his little Bob Marley drink, and he's looking over at me and he tells me, I'm so glad you didn't give up. You guys, that was everything for me. And it was in the middle of the day. Everybody was around us, and I just bawled my eyes out. We were just sitting in this little gazebo with our fancy ass drinks, and he's like, I'm so glad you didn't give up.
Yeah. And I think that's the moment that it was like all that changed, right? I mean, like it had changed over that year, you guys. But the thing was, is that she continued, even though he was skeptical, she was like, you know what, but he was watching her. And so even though he was skeptical, okay, he was still, and he was uncomfortable. You got to give the man credit because he was like, all right, babe, like this is helping you. Like he knew it was helping her in so many ways. So it was like, it's scary, but okay. And then I know that she hit his rank as well that year. And she, you know, was like, we're going to go to Jamaica when the getaway came out. And then I can remember that getaway and sitting there with him and hanging out, and just that pride on his face for what his wife had accomplished was priceless. And that is something that is huge, you know, especially for somebody that hardworking guys that like their wives are at home and the wives are working hard too, you know, they each have, especially in traditional setup families, they're not used to relinquishing some of that, right? They're not used to giving some of that strength to their wife because they have a sense of pride. Okay, guys, they have a sense of pride that they are the provider, they are the protector. And if that is in any way, you know, housed on, sometimes the people around them kind of give them these ideas that, oh, well, your wife's getting a little too independent and she's gonna hop ship, you know what I mean? And when you've dealt with loss and trauma and different things, that can be scary. So like, I want to give a shout out to Iron because he's such an amazing guy. Like you guys, I've watched this whole thing unfold, and the belief that he had in his wife and the pride he had in his wife, I think is what propelled her to that next level. As a family, you know, and how she was able to help so many people. So
Yeah.
what about after like that whole turnaround, the support, how did that change, you know, your business going forward?
I feel like it, so it was quite a struggle the first 2 years, right? But I think it pushed me. I used it as fuel. And I just kept that belief, you know, I know what these products are doing for me. I know what they're doing for others. Nothing else matters. Like, yes, his opinion matters. But there was other doubters too. My best friend from high school, she started rumors because I was losing weight that I was on drugs. And you guys, I have addicts as parents and I live in a little ass town. So those rumors were flying everywhere. And I didn't think that anybody would believe me, but I knew what these products were doing for me. I knew how I felt inside, and it didn't matter if it felt like the world was against me. I knew what I had my hands on, and I just kept running. And I think pushing through those doubts of others is what got me to where I am. And of course, you know, from when I was a brand promoter to maybe like I got 4K my first month, but I didn't even maintain it until March that next year. And then from March and May, I held 4K. And that's when we had those double volume rank advancement bonuses. And I was such in like the comparison mode because like I said, all of us came over from a different network marketing company. And I feel like everybody took off, everybody. But what I didn't know is they had years of experience in network marketing before me. So when I was stuck in that comparison mode and I missed that rank bonus, that rank advancement bonus, I reached out to one of my side sisters who had made that 12K bonus. And I asked her, dude, what are you doing? And that right there is what got me out of comparison mode. I realized that, you know, if everybody around me is able to do this, I can do this too. And then especially with that extra fuel, that extra fire that I had to prove these people wrong. That's what I did. And what my sideline sister told me too changed my entire business. She said, Katie Sue, I'm just being a good friend. I'm reaching out to everybody who's showing me support on my page and I'm thanking them. I'm not asking them for a sell because that's what we learned in our previous business. I am thanking them and showing them appreciation and just being a good friend. And so June, that next month is when I hit 12K. for the first time ever. And even though I lost it until the next March in 2019, and then that year is when we went to the leadership retreat, and I came home. And so I had that different mindset. I was going to be a good friend. I was going to help people instead of worrying about helping myself. And then I came back with that huge belief in myself, and just knowing, like, being surrounded by, you know, Amanda and Jamie Pekka and even Chas and Amber, and just seeing how, you know, goofy and human and like real everybody was, like, it made me realize I could do this too. I really could. I could do this. Anybody can do this. And I had the freaking fuel still. I had the fuel for my fire.
And you guys, I gotta say this, you guys, listen, you can't make this stuff up. So I have to share it. That leadership retreat that she's talking about in Pigeon Forge, the downstairs where Katie was staying, you guys, flooded with poop. Okay. It, like, the toilet, like, seriously. So the Airbnb had to put us up in a whole different house.
It was a freaking tension. Oh my God.
I had a pure anxiety attack. They put us in a house that was like 3 times bigger with a pool, and it was like massive. Okay. We're like, holy moly. I mean, the house we were already in was big, but this next house was like whole next level. But we all laughed through it. Yes, I had a little bit of a panic attack, but it was a beautiful turn of events, a very shitty situation, I guess you should say. But yeah, but you know what? It showed how we could all come together, and we just packed up the house real quick, and the Airbnb got us a new house, and we all just shifted gears. It's like nothing happened, right? It's like we just like, okay, well, let's go with the flow. Here we go, pack up and go back to a different house. But I think like that, just like her journey and just seeing that people are human and that there's no difference between any of us, right? Yes, there might be some experience. Yes, there might be some personality differences. There might be some different backgrounds, and so forth. But at the end of the day, we all have the same resources. We all have the same opportunity to grow, right? And we can learn from others. And that sideline sister, and I want to encourage each and every one of you guys that if you do not have your sponsors not active, their sponsors not active, and you know, or they left, or whatever the case may be, reach right, reach left, reach up, reach down. Okay. Because I promise you, reach out somewhere. Okay. Because there is somebody that's going to inspire you, somebody that's been through it, somebody that has literally been where you are and has pushed through in some way. So I encourage you to reach out to those people and know, and I'm going to tell you, I never, like, I didn't have an active sponsor in my first company. Like, she really, like, she was active, but she wasn't active. And so I had to figure out stuff myself. All right. I had to figure out something, but it made me a stronger leader because of it. So don't use that as a weakness, use it as a strength. And that's what I know Katie Sue has done as well. She is like, I'm the only person active really above her, like that's working between her and I, you guys. And she was once upon a time like 6 or 7 levels deep. Okay. And that's crazy to even think about, but it's like the reality of things. But here we are, right? And here her and I still are standing. So I want to encourage each one of you guys for that. So I don't know if you want to touch on not having necessarily like your enroller kind of dropping off and her enroller kind of dropping off or not.
Yes. So that kind of brings me up into the point, like I held 12K until like February 2020, you guys. And then that year I had another altercation with Iram. That was the year I started making more money than him. I started bringing more money in than him, and it got him a little in his feels, like he wasn't doing enough or whatever. And he took that out on me. And I had earned Riviera Maya that trip. So it was spiteful, yes, but because he had, you know, took that out on me. I told him he could stop thriving. He could stop taking my Thrive any day, and that I was going to Mexico with my best friend. So I decided to go to Mexico March 2020, and with my best friend Alyssa. And you guys, I was so nervous. That was my first time traveling out of the country. It was actually my first time meeting Alyssa in person. We had met like years ago in a makeup group, and she was in another network marketing company. I was in a network marketing company, but we both supported each other and stayed connected. And then so when I started thriving, she that summer started thriving with me too. And so when I earned this retreat, I had a guest spot, she took it. And I just remember getting there to Mexico, March 2020, and just feeling like on top of the world. Like, I showed my husband, like, and I'm in Mexico for the first time. And I also qualified for my first Lavelle YouTube interview that trip also. So I was super pumped. I was proud of myself. I had made it this far, and despite my husband's doubt, and it was his own insecurities. And then us being forced in those situations, we each had to work through all of that together, So me, just like with my first retreat, saying, I'm going, despite what you think, I'm going. And then I remember being on the balcony with my friend Alyssa. We were just like giddy with excitement. Like, dude, we are here. We are overlooking the most beautiful ocean. And then she started talking to me, there's this girl, I really want her to promote with me. And you guys, that's when we started planning, like, we're going to come home. We're going to freaking blow this shit up. We had so many plans. And you guys, when we hit that airport to go home, that's when the world shut down. Everybody was in like masks and hazmat suits. And it was freaking scary being in a foreign country and having to fly home when all that was happening. It was so scary. But we got home. And I mean, I remember feeling like a sense of panic, like, oh my God, the world's shutting down. What the hell are we going to do? But I feel like that's what kind of pushed my team. Like, not only, I've always had that fire in my soul, like to fuel myself forward, because, I've always had like some doubter or hater or something to prove myself even. And I feel like the world shutting down gave my team that same fire. Everybody was stuck home, laid off from their jobs or whatever, was their situation. But everybody decided, you know what? We love Thrive. We're going to push it. And you guys, 2020 is when we went 40K. I hit 12K on my husband's account that April. And then I went 40K on my account in May. And since the world was shut down, that's when we started like really cultivating our community. We started doing 5 a.m. workouts together. Like, we would just call each other on Facebook and screenshot it, put it in our stories. Everybody was getting in the best shape of their life at home. And then when the world kind of started opening back up, we did monthly team dinners. We were just really building our local community, and I think just enjoying being with each other again, like being able to go to restaurants and stuff. But when my business started really taking off, I remember hearing less and less from my uplines. And I would message them. I'd be like, oh my God, Andrea's blowing it up. I can't believe what's happening right now. And then I remember telling them, y'all, I think I'm going to go to 40K this month. Crickets. Freaking crickets. And I was just like, okay. And I just kept pushing. Like, what else was I supposed to do but other than run with my runners? That's what we're always told to do, right? So I kept running. And then my other uplines. So like, we have this amazing layered leadership here, right? I started hearing from my other uplines. Amanda, Jamie, everybody above me just kept pouring their love into me. Even my downline, they're so freaking amazing. Like, they believed in me that I could go 40K before I even realized I was going to go 40K. So we just kept running and running. And I remember when I did hit 40K, my girl Andrea, who went 12K, she tried to put together a team chat, like, so that they could gift me something for my 40K, and my upline told her I didn't deserve it. So
you guys, and I'm gonna stop you right there, because that breaks my heart. It breaks my heart, but I can tell you this: sometimes in your journey, you're gonna have people that when you start succeeding, things change, and people can react differently, and it's not always in a good reaction. Sometimes the people in your life, sometimes the people in your team can get jealous. Sometimes people outside of your team can get jealous. And I'm not saying it was jealousy, but like, when you've seen somebody work so hard for something and you've watched them do it and see them cultivate it all throughout, there's really never an excuse to discourage someone, and there's never a reason to talk badly about anybody, ever, right? So it's like, you know what, celebrate people and congratulate them. None of us are ever going to be perfect, but at the same time, if you have somebody rocking it on your team, I don't care if they pass you up. Okay, I don't care if you got the biggest red leg on the planet. If you've heard Amber Manquest's story, Chas passed her up and went 200K before Amber ever did. Okay, and guess what? Amber said, I got a lot of catching up to do. And then she did. And you have to look at it like that, because if not, it will break you. It'll beat you down. It'll consume you. It'll eat you up wondering what you did. It has nothing to do with you, and it has every bit to do with them. Okay. So you always have to remember that. And Katie Sue, I want to give you props, because in a time that could have been where, just you just latched onto your team and continue to create that community and distance yourself from anybody and anything. And that's when you really start reaching out the sidelines a lot more. I know. And that's, I mean, I never hear a bad word from anybody. I always hear, I love Katie Sue. I love Katie Sue, and I'm like, yeah, she's badass, because too, I've watched your journey throughout this time, and you are very resilient, and the tenacity is just off the chart, right? And that's what it takes, you guys. Sometimes it takes overcoming these massive obstacles, whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, whether it's the small town. I lived in a small town, and yeah, everybody I worked with got like waiting for me to fail. So
I'm gonna be honest, it literally broke my heart. It did. And it was a moment where, because I was booted off of our team chat, our team training page, everything. So in a moment where I could have easily just, given up, said I didn't know what to do, I didn't want to lead by myself, I started reaching out to every resource that we have here. And thank God, you guys, that I'm on this team, because I know we have so many resources that are free for literally everybody who just wants this. All you have to do is plug in. And that's what I did. I started, and I still shared my Uplines, team Zooms, whatever. I shared every leader's calls, trainings, plug people into our back office, just because I appreciate this layered leadership. Without it, I would not be here today, because I had no clue what I was doing. I still don't have any clue what I was doing. And there in that moment, I kind of freaked out and started to micromanage my team too. I started, well, now I have to do all these Zooms. Now I have to do all these calls. Like, now I have to do this and this and this that our upline did before. And that's kind of where I got in a little stagnant phase the next year and last year, I guess. And that's where I'm at now, kind of. I'm in a better mind space. I'm going to be honest. I was in therapy last year. I had to work through a lot of stuff, like codependency.
that's traumatic.
Yeah, but it wasn't, I think, okay, this is going to be a little woo-woo, but it's a cycle. And whatever I was going through with my upline has happened before, like in my childhood. So, and in my marriage. So all of this shit that's happened is just another form, you know, like another cycle that I had to break and learn to do differently. And that's the biggest thing that this entire journey has taught me.
And I think that that messes with your head, you guys. It messes with your worthiness. It messes with what your goals are for yourself. A lot of times you'll pull back your goals and you won't feel like, can I do this? Am I deserving of this? And everything that you had built yourself up to at that point came crashing down, because it's like, well, now I'm nothing. Like, what? Like, you know, but that's where she leaned in, and that's where she recognized the patterns and the things that were happening. And, you know, I don't give my 200K sign to anybody, just anybody. All right. I don't. I give it to those, you know, that are worthy, that I see are doing the darn thing. And that was a hard decision. You know, at conference, I'm looking at all these incredible ladies and I'm like, you know what? I know who deserves this right now, because I seen all that she was overcoming and pushing through. And I got to tell you, I mean, I have other ladies on my team that also got signs. And you guys at conference, there's a lot of people passing out those signs sometimes to people that they see that are plugging in, that they see on the Zooms, that they see fighting for their future, right? And, you know, if you've heard anything today, is that it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked back down, as long as you keep getting back up and you keep on growing from it. And it sucks. It does. Okay. It sucks. And when people leave and people beat you down for whatever reason it may be, you start to learn that, yes, that might be a cycle because of the kind of person that you are, right? The kind of person that you are. But ultimately, at the end of the day, how somebody else treats you is on them, is on them. Okay, that's their own healing that they have to do. And at the end of the day, that has nothing to do with you. And you have to make a decision. And I think that that is something, like, as we go into 2023, I'm, you know, I just had these ladies come in. I told Katie Sue, I said, I'd never had people come anywhere for me. And until my now husband had my 40th birthday party, I like had never had anybody celebrate like my birthday, really, you know. And man, it messes with your head. It messes with your head. When I lost all my weight, it was like a loss of identity. And people said things, and then, you know, there were rumors and so forth, and you have to overcome those things. But like, I could tell you 2023 is going to be my best year yet, because I have that belief. And I remember I did this, I got here, my team got here, right? And that's what I know. Like Katie Sue, she's dealt with a lot of battling her worthiness. And that is something that each of you have to look in the mirror. And I want you to believe in yourself and believe that you can accomplish anything, as long as you keep going forward.
Yes.
So,
My girl Mariah, she posted this quote today, and I thought it was perfect for this, but especially for my story. It says, growth happens when you're frustrated, angry, scared, or heartbroken, when you realize you have a choice. And that explains everything, why I've always got back up and pushed harder every time I've fell. And I choose to now learn from each of these obstacles instead of let it make me doubt myself. And in 2023, I am fucking laser focused. Excuse my language, but I've talked to Amanda about this so many times, but I just feel like this huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And I'm not going to be quiet anymore. I have this huge voice and this story to tell, and my team deserves everything. So
Yeah, and that's what it is.
stuff.
And that's what I guess I want to kind of, I know Elite is going to be such a, oh my gosh, you guys, my phone has not stopped blowing up. I made the simplest post yesterday, literally in like, I cannot even tell you, I've had so many messages. And so as we go into this amazing launch, an amazing year that it's going to be with a fresh eyes and fresh game plan, K2, I'd love for you to give people some tips on how they can get laser focused and set some goals and literally crush this year, and kind of what your game plan is.
Well, for me personally, I chose the word focused for 2023. I saw Kaylee Croup did too, but it kind of inspired me. But that's what I need to do, because all last year, like I said, I was focused on trying to be the leader that I lost. And it made me realize that's not what I needed. So I am getting back to focusing on my family, my purpose, my goals, my mental wellness, my team, learning and improving daily, and helping others grow and focus on their own transformations. And then personally, my goals are to get back into the basics. I'm doing Kaylee Croup's boot camp just to kind of keep me accountable. But I want to focus on re-VIPing every single month. I want to send out 12 minis every single month. I use the sample mailouts and I use my credits for those. So we get 6 for 72 or whatever. So I'm getting 12 of those out every month. That's my own personal goal. And then I want to thrive for free on IRM's account again. And then of course, help my team thrive for free and re-VIP as many times as we can. And then I'm in the Ultimate Thriver. So that's where my focus is going to be, solely on what I can control and nothing else.
Yep, because you can't control who else shows up, right? But if you see somebody showing up, you guys grab arms with them, run with them, because new people coming in are normally going to be the most excited people on your team, because people can get very, very stagnant. And sometimes we can place blame other ways. But honestly, like, I really did some self-reflection. I can say there were certain things that I just was not doing. Okay. And I can own that. And I think we each have to be able to own that ourselves and say, okay, well, when did I stop doing this? When did that? And I'll tell you, Elite kind of brought me back to my day one Thrive journey. And I was going to do the detox first, but honestly, it showed up on Thursday and I started Friday morning, and holy wow. Okay. Like, Tim actually took mine today. And I ordered more for both of us, because I was like, I was down 6 pounds yesterday. And I was like, I just started on Friday and I was not great. I wasn't terrible, but I wasn't great all weekend. So now I've been focused on my water, and I've literally got a clementine, some cheese and crackers and pepperoni sitting here that I'm eating for lunch. And I ate a boiled egg I cut in half and made into a deviled egg, and had my shake this morning. My lifestyle mix, you guys, it is so good with water. Honestly, if you've never tried it with water, give it a shot, throw a little ice in there, whatever. It's unbelievable. Like, I'm like, what? How did I miss out on that? Kaylee told me that Saturday morning. I was like, really? Because I normally drink it with unsweetened almond milk. But I think really setting yourself on getting those samples out, you can control focusing on getting samples out. How do you get samples out? By letting people know what the samples do, right? And that you have them available. Also, following up with people that have asked before that maybe didn't get one, letting them know, hey, I'm sending out some this week. I know you were interested before, you wanting to get one now, and so forth, right? You guys, stories and testimonies are exactly what tell people what it is. If you quit sharing the Thrive, if you don't ever go to the Lavelle Facebook fan page, first off, you're missing out. If you have not sent in your story, I highly encourage myself to, because I'm just as guilty. If you have not sent in your testimony, your Thrive testimony, I'm going to share my Elite experience when I do. I encourage each one of you. Katie Sue, you too. Okay. I encourage each one of you guys to get your testimonies in to the Lavelle fan page. And then also you yourself copy some of those stories and share them. You don't know who on your timeline those stories are going to relate to. Okay. And then the videos that Lavelle puts up, you can clip cut them, you guys, and upload them and then share them to your stories on your Facebook, wherever you want to, in your reels, whatever. Okay. Like, you have that ability just as anybody else. So anyways, I know we have like 10 minutes left. And today is payday. Are there any last minute things we might, I mean, I don't know what all you have left to finish up, but we can even finish early if you want.
Well, I have nothing else to say. I think I've pretty much poured out my whole heart. Maybe just some suggestions on personal development that have really helped me. Of course, I said therapy. It has helped me a lot. Just kind of, work through everything that's happened, especially I've always kind of had a hard time communicating when it comes to my feelings. I can write that shit out. Like, if you go to my Facebook, it's basically like a Dear Diary. I can write it out, but to talk face to face to somebody is something I knew I needed to work on. So therapy has definitely helped me with that. But some podcasts that I listen to all the time that have really helped me too is Emotional Badass. This one is a lot to do with like inner child work, things that maybe you don't even realize affect you today stem from way back when. So that's super important to work on. And then another one is, excuse my language, but it's called Do You Fucking Mind? It's from this really awesome Australian chick, but she does a lot of like brain facts, like stress, what it has to do on the brain and how it affects you. And basically, like, I love to learn why I am the way I am. And it helps me, learn to cope and be better. Those two podcasts are awesome. I listen to them every week. And then a book that really helped me recently, just this past October, I read it. It's called Embrace Your Almost. And it kind of helped me just deal with that whole 2020, that whole year, the whole last 2 years, basically. I was almost, our team volume was almost 80K, I think in June of 2020. So I've had a lot of times where I've almost made it, or things were right on track and then they fell off. I've lost strength so many times. But learning how to embrace your almost and just keeping true to your why through all the obstacles. And my why has always been to thrive, to feel better for myself. So that one has really, really helped me.
I haven't started it yet. Embrace Your Almost. I actually have it, and it's by Jordan Lee Dooley. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I'm looking forward to, you're like the third person I have heard recommend that book. So there must be something to it. And you guys, at the end of the day, this whole world has been through a bunch of stuff, right? We've all been through a bunch of stuff over the past couple of years. And I really think that all of us need that reminder of what we have within ourselves, that we can't control the outside circumstances, but we can control ourselves. So we have to work on ourselves to be able to give the best version of us to us first, and then to be able to give it to our kids, our families, and our loved ones, right? And then I also want to encourage each of you guys to be who you are. Don't change for anybody, okay? Except for if it's a good change for yourself that is needed. Don't change to be like anybody else. You have your own superpowers within you, and we need each one of you guys, right? Because you bring something different to the table. And I guess ultimately at the end of the day, that's one big lesson that you've probably learned throughout this journey, is why we want our teams and ourselves to learn from so many others, because at the end of the day, what happens if that book gets closed? what happens if all of a sudden you're shut off and, like Katie was removed from, chats and pages and so forth? What if she wouldn't have had the other community, the rest of the people around her to be able to go here and here and here? And that's all she knew. Because sometimes, you guys, unfortunately, that's what happens. And that's hard, right? So I give you a lot of credit for continuing to fight through all of that. And I'm excited to see where you and your team go this year, right? So it's going to be amazing. And you guys, I hope that today you have been inspired and that you can walk away from this call, realizing like, hey, man, maybe it sounded a little familiar, some of it, and maybe not exactly, but in some way, shape, or form where you've doubted yourself, didn't believe in yourself, had somebody skeptical of you, a loved one or friend or whatever, or just even people that you don't really care, right? Because sometimes we don't post because we're worried what people are going to think. You guys, at the end of the day, the people that matter won't mind, and those that mind don't matter, right? I don't know who said that. Is that Dr. Seuss or something? I feel like that's like Dr. Seuss, maybe. But anyways, I heard it along the way, and it's true. It is true. But Katie Sue, I love you so much, you guys, and I will get this recording up very, very soon. Happy payday here in like 4 minutes, but I had an amazing day, and I'm so glad you went through with this call. You guys, she was skeptical about doing it, and I was like, yes, your story needs heard. So
I'm nervous, but thank you, Amanda, so much. Your love and just always pouring your heart into us has always meant so much to me. So I love you, and you are appreciated.
Love you guys. Everybody have an amazing day. Let's kick butt with Thrive Elite. Bye, guys. Mwah.